So you're being foreclosed on and considering foreclosure defense. Maybe you find yourself where you've tried to negotiate a modification or a forbearance or some better situation with your lender, and it's not happening. There's a sale date posted and you're headed for a foreclosure sale. You are not in a position to go bankrupt for some reason, or don't want to file bankruptcy to try to save the house. And so what to do? And your objective is to keep the house. Well, so-called foreclosure defense takes in a myriad of causes of action that we may be able to bring to bear to actually sue your lender. And once we sue your lender, and lest I be mistaken, we're not looking for your home for free. On the internet, there are places that talk about getting your home for free because they cannot prove that they're the owner of your mortgage. That has worked in some places. I don't want to give the idea that that's something that you should strive for. It may happen, but if your objective is to save the home, what we can do is protect your rights. And it may be the case that the way the loan was originated was fraudulent. Maybe they asked you to sign some documents that weren't filled in, and then they filled them in later, and all of a sudden you find out, oh, wait, they said I made X amount of money a month when I really made Y, or something like that. Or they didn't give you certain documents that, according to federal statutes, whenever we buy a home, we get certain documents at the closing of our loan and it being funded and us buying the home and establishing a mortgage. There are certain documents that have to be provided to each of us as home buyers. And maybe they didn't give you those things. Well, that's the cause of action. We can file a suit on that. Maybe they have lied to you in the modification process. Maybe you entered into a trial period payment where they said, oh, it looks like you qualify for the HAMP program or HOFSA or one of the government programs to make homes affordable. And then they pull the rug out from under you. And all of a sudden you get a denial letter and a foreclosure date is noted in your file when you call the bank and say, what's going on? Well, we noticed that the 20th of this month it's gonna be foreclosed. What? And so maybe they were unfair in their business practices with you, and there are state laws and federal laws that can come to bear on that. Maybe in the pooling service agreement, if your mortgage is so-called securitized or was bundled with a whole bunch of mortgages and sold to some Wall Street firm, and it's in what's called a pooling service agreement of literally hundreds if not thousands of mortgages, and your mortgage is an asset in that pool. Well, that's governed by about a 200-page document called the pooling service agreement. As your mortgage is now being foreclosed, was it sold to somebody? Did they follow the pooling service agreement, the laws that govern that? Did they transfer it correctly? Did they have the power to do it, whoever is doing whatever they're doing to you? We can look into that and see. If your mortgage was, if you've noticed a substitution of trustee anywhere in the chain of since you've had the mortgage, did they record that at the county recorders? There's certain procedural things that the person that owns the mortgage has to do. Whoever is the servicer or the investor, they all have policies or laws that they have to follow. And so we can look and say and see, is the person that's foreclosing on your home, do they even have the authority to do that? If you see someone speeding on your street, do you have the authority to pull them over and write them a ticket? Unless you're a police officer, you don't. It could be the same that the person that is foreclosing on you actually does not have the power to foreclose. If we can show that, we can get before a judge and say, Your Honor, there's a foreclosure sale in a week or 2 weeks or whenever it is, and the person that's so-called foreclosing, they're not related to this. They have not substituted. There's no recording of them being the substitute or the trustee that's been subbed in. And so then the judge will agree with us and say, you're right, Mr. Whoever servicing company, you don't have the power to foreclose. and they'll stop the foreclosure. Won't be forever, because they'll go back and fix whatever they need to do. They'll probably put you back in notice of default, but it will stop the foreclosure sale. So there's no one cookie cutter thing that can be done in foreclosure defense. However, bring us your documents or tell us your story. We can get the documents from the county records office, look at them and drill down and find out what's going on. And then we can give you some advice on if foreclosure defense is right, if you should sue your lender. And it may not be the case that you can. Maybe they've done everything right. Many, a majority of mortgages have some element of fraud in them. It's been reported time and time again in the last 10 years. It's part of the reason our economy tilted, because of all the fraud and greed that went on in the mortgage industry and the lenders. So I'd encourage you to set something up with us, come in and let's talk, and we will give you a path that you can take and hopefully stop that sale.